with the scope handle, the IK handle for the IK spline handle for the scope selected, and I'm inside the animation tool set, I go to the key menu, I look for IK FK keys, and I want to make sure this enable IK solver is selected. That's the same thing as having this blend set to 1, but I want to make sure it's selected. And I say set key. And now I've got everything is set, and you notice I've got a keyframe there. Now, I know I'm going to use about 600 frames here, so I'm going to go ahead and extend the timeline that much. I'm not going to use all 600 at once, though. So I'll get a smaller portion of that visible. And anticipate, let's go 2 seconds to get the scope to come down the curve to about right about here. So let me hide. We don't need the grid right now. It'd be easier to see maybe without it. Okay, and let me turn on the joints so you can see the joints in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I've got the handle still selected. I'm going to go, instead of using this, I'm going to go to the attribute editor, and I'm inside. This will say whatever you name the IK handle. It would say just IK handle, but I've named it scope IK handle, so that's what I'm looking at. And then I'm looking for the thing that says IK solver attributes. Now the blend is set to 1. That's what we just did when we keyed it earlier here. And I'm going to change the offset to 0.035. That's a little more than I want. So I'm just going to play with these numbers until I get, that's pretty good right there. So then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. The scope is selected. The scope handle, IK handle, the spline IK handle is selected. Key. Okay, and it's selected now. Now if I scrub through this, what I should see is I come down and get to that point. So at frame 60, I'm going to move the arrow right here, this the white arrow now, with the line right next to it. Remember, that means move 1 step forward 1 frame. Okay, so I haven't moved anything, I've just gone 1 frame in time forward. Now I'm going to reverse things. I'm going to take the control away from the IK handle and allow the joints to control things. So to do that, I'm going to go back to this key, and I'm going to turn off, the first thing I do is turn off, see when I unselected the enable IK solver, the IK blend went to 0. So that means now the FK, the forward kinetics, is controlling. And if I set that key, nothing will happen, but I have now at least control. So let's go into the joints that we're trying to use. Now, because we want this to be smooth and very, very flexible, we've added quite a few joints, so it's quite a list. So I'm going to have to select each joint. You can't just select here, for example. Even though those are all lit up, that won't work. You have to select each joint. So I'm going to select that many. And I'm going to change their names. Up here in this window, there's a little icon here. And if I press down on it, it gives me the option to say rename. So I'm going to change to flex, so that I know these are the joints that I'm going to use to make the tip of the instrument flexible. This is the way the instrument actually is built. It's very, very flexible at the distal end, so that it has a lot of, the clinician has a tremendous amount of precise movement they can make to look around. So with that all selected, I'm going to go to the channel box. So I have my joints all selected, and select all three of these axes, rotation axes, because I want to make sure, I'm not sure, because I'm on this spline curve, it's hard to, it's not like I was in a straight position, so I have to make sure I have all three, because they're probably all going to actually change. So we'll see right now. Okay, so that's set. Now let's say I go down and I take, I want to sweep through here. So I'm on 60, so let's say I go to 115, 114, and I sweep to look down like this. Now I would set them again, and then maybe I'll go another 2 seconds and sweep the opposite way. And then maybe just another second to return to the path. Now, it's hard to know exactly where that path is, remember, because these values are so variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click go back to the previous keyframe, and now I'm on frame 62, and I'm going to copy that and then go to 195 and paste it, and that guarantees me I'm where I want to be. Okay, now at 195, I'm done with my sweeping using the joints to control my scope. So what I'd like to do is begin to continue the journey into this down the stomach. So I want to get control back. I want to get the IK, spline IK, controlling everything again. So I'm going to move, just to be sure I'm secure here. In other words, just to be sure the software knows this is the last place where I have given the joints control. With the enable unselected, so the IK blend is 0, I'm going to set a key. Okay, and if we go to that attribute, I'm sorry, I don't have the joints selected. I mean, I don't have the spline IK selected. If I go back to the spline IK, now you can see it's all red, so this has all been set. Now I'm going to move just one frame, advance one frame, go back to that key option. This time I'm going to enable the spline IK solver. You notice when I did that, the blend IK is now back to 1. So the spline IK now is totally in charge. And if I go there and say key, okay, theoretically what I can do now is come, let's say 4 seconds, or 120 would be like 310. Let's get a couple more frames, make it a little slower. So what I want to do now is actually travel the path, and I want to make sure I have enough time so it doesn't look like I'm racing. So let's go to 340 and then say with the enable still selected key. Okay, and now I'm going to change the value of the offset right here in that same attribute window. Let's say 45. Let's go a little further than that. Okay, right there. So again, I'm going to just say to make sure I have it. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay, I'm not getting quite back all the way. There we go. All right, and let's play this. So we come down, stop, look around a little bit, and then continue.